Here comes the sun, little darling. Here comes the sun.
We are a very environmentally aware and conscious family. We don't drive a car. We've had a thermal panel for many years already. That turned into a bit of a disaster. It's still up and running, but we overspent on it, and the company we dealt with turned out not to be all that trustworthy. But we've always had to drive to try to live our lives making less impact on the environment. We looked into having these panels done, I want to say 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when the feed-in tariffs were still in the 40 pence plus region. We just sort of missed the deadline. We had a proposal then from a company who went on our roof, and the costs were just under twice what I ended up paying like 2 years later. We actually missed the deadline of the feed-in tariff cutoff because I was under the false impression we needed a planning permission at the time. So that took a while for me to clarify that we're exempt from planning permission. The affordability played an important role. I would say that having had a proposal 2-3 years ago, I haven't seen a cost then. We were reasonably pleasant surprised with the reduced cost of installation. Your company that we ended up working with was pretty good and efficient in giving us financial benefits in an Excel spreadsheet. And those weren't too much affected at all. If anything affected it was just the presence of a huge chimney on our roof. But the payback period, although it wasn't the prime reason for us to do it, still it was reassuring to see that it hadn't changed all that much, largely due to the lower investment up front. Why did I choose Sogo Solar? I did rely on the old Oracle, Google, and looked for local firms. I haven't been hurt quite badly by the previous experience with our thermal panels. I thought it was important that the supplier we're going to be working with was certified with the MCS, I believe it's an MCS certification, that you guys obviously have. So we then went to Google and found a few firms. Another thing that we are keen on is supporting local smaller companies. We're very loath to work with large firms that do a lot of cold calling, and we happen to be in your neighborhood type of approach. So that's when we start calling around, and we contacted 3 or 4 companies, one of whom was yourself. How would I rate them? Technical knowledge? No, I think it's good. You guys know your stuff. You did some research in response to specific questions I had and the various options available. And my questions were, satisfactorily answered. So I would say 8 out of 10. Really went very, very smoothly. It was very quick. There was no mess. There was no damage done. The only delay we ran into, of course, was our chimney that needed repairing, but that is probably out of the scope of your question. But no, very happy. This is quite a useful little tool that you introduced me to, is the online portal. The portal that you used is very user-friendly. Once you bookmarked it on your web browser, you can see exactly the performance of each individual panel as well as the overall output at any time of the day. And I want to mention that that is a very nice little feature to have. It's not essential to have it, but it is very nice to have it because it has made all of us in the family much more aware of how much energy we consume. You start playing around with it, and you see the sun rising, and you see the increasing level of panels, their output, but also which panels output as the sun rises. Then you see when it is a good time to use your washing machine and your dishwasher and those electric devices use a lot of energy. And the metrics, the kilowatt hours, it's all starting to mean a lot more to you. So yeah, I would certainly recommend that portal. You asked me about the Inmarsat. That is a good example of something I appreciated you recommending to us. The Inmarsat device that before it exports electricity back into the grid, actually heats up your water, that played an important role to us, because with our thermal panel still being alive but probably going a half power, we wanted to find a solution that actually aided that thermal panel as well, and we found it. So we've combined the two. We've got a thermal and electric panel, but when we don't use enough electricity, the electricity generated by the panel helps us get the hot water. So it's very good, yeah. The proof is in the pudding as terms to the longevity of it. It's been installed about 4 months ago, 3-4 months ago now. So far it's been perfect. I think the top output of it has actually exceeded a little bit what we estimated to be the top output. So therefore the estimations that we made with regards to shading, etc., were cautious, which I think is a good thing. So the only question is if it will ever break down, or if the micro inverters or the inverter will break down in the next 2, 3, 4 years. Then I'll be disappointed. But if it lives up to 5 to 10 years or whatever, then so far it's 10 out of 10. But yeah, the proof is in the pudding.
Here comes the sun, little darling. Here comes the sun.